yes. Woody's back. Yes, Woody's back. Let's show Woody's back, why don't we? Look at that. Isn't that a beautiful instrument? Had a little mishap here at the studio not long ago, and Folkcraft took real good care of him and added a couple of friends to the friends that are swimming on the front. Very nice indeed. You can find Folkcraft instruments at folkcraft.com. My name is Bing Futch, and welcome to another episode of Dulcimerica. Sitting here noodling around. Been doing some repairs on Rita the RV. Taking a break because it's a little rainy today. And figured I'd show you a real basic thing. I think I may have come across it at some point in time in Dulcimerica, but it's a refresher. It's a brand new year. Never a bad thing to go over it. It's the roots of your chords, basically, when you're in DAD tuning, like I am right now. So major and minor chords all have roots. That is the lowest note in that chord, normally a 3-note chord, especially for us as mountain dulcimer players. So there you got your root, also known as the 1. Then you've got your 3rd, and then you've got your 5th. In the case of a major chord, it is the root, the 1, it is the major 3rd, and then it is the perfect 5th. You can find out what these notes are for every single scale by hopping over every other note. For example, in a D major scale, you've got D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, and C sharp. To make a D major chord, start with D and then skip every other note. So you go D, skip E, go to F sharp. Skip G, go to A. So D, F sharp, and A will give you your 3 notes for a major chord. Minor chords are a bit different. Minor chords are spelt with that middle note, the 3rd. It comes down a half step. So we call that a flattened note, or a minor 3rd interval. So in the case of a D minor chord, you would take D, remains the same, A remains the same, so you have your root, and you have your 5th, your perfect 5th. But your major 3rd becomes a minor 3rd, we go down a half step, the F sharp becomes an F natural, it loses the sharp, coming down a half step. So D, F, and A give you a D minor chord. All that to say what? We're going to be moving up and down the fretboard, showing you how to quickly figure out what chords you're playing by looking at where the roots are located. For example, our L-shaped chord goes like this. And we'll use a 3-3-5 G major chord for this example. 3-3-5, L-shaped. You can see the L goes across, the toe of the L is down here, and then you could draw a line up to the upper part of the L. Here's our L-shaped chord, 3-3-5. That's a G major chord, and the root of the chord is on the bass string. Always on the bass string when you're playing the L-shaped chord. So we have G there. We've got B here on the melody. We've got D on the middle string. G, B, and D. Your root is on the bass string. So if you listen to the major chord sound, and it's up and cheerful sounding like that, then you know you've got a major chord, and it's G major. But what if we move that L-shaped chord down to 2-2-4? That chord doesn't sound nearly so up and so happy, it sounds more serious, more somber. That's a minor chord, but the same rule applies. L-shaped chord, the root's on the bass string. On the bass string here at the 2nd fret, we're playing F sharp. So that gives us an F sharp minor chord. Move it down to 1-1-3. Does it sound happy, or does it sound kind of serious? It sounds kind of serious. It's a minor chord. What are we playing on the bass string at the 1st fret? That's E. So we have E minor. Play up here. Does it sound up or down? I think it sounds up. What are we playing on the bass string? Right there we're playing C. So we have a C major chord, 6-6-8. So you can move the shape, the L, up and down the fretboard, and as long as you know what the root is and you can tell the difference between major and minor, then you'll be able to tell what those are. Now I'm going to show you a trick to remember after I show you all 3 of the major chord shapes, but that's the L-shaped chord. For our slant chord, tic-tac-toe, 2-3-4 in this case, we're playing a D major slant chord. The root's going to be on the middle string. The root is on the middle string always. So D is there in the middle, F sharp is here on the bass string, and A is on the melody string, D, F sharp, and A. So if we move that up, say, to 3, 4, 5, it's a little harder to tell here, but you'll listen to it and see, is that major or is that minor? It's a minor chord we've got there. We're using the middle string for our root. That's E right there. So we have E minor. Here's a trick that I'll get into now, and I'll explain some other things later about it. But you can flip a D chord around because the melody string and the bass string are both D. It's a symmetrical tuning, so we can flip all of our chords around. So if you take a 2, 3, 4 chord, or for example a 3, 4, 5 chord like we just played, E minor, and you reverse it, flip it around like that to a 5, 4, 3 chord, now the minor sound of the chord and the minor nature of the chord is more pronounced. And that can often give you a richer chord when you play, and here's the rule of thumb, when you play the bass string, when the note you're playing on the bass string is the closest to the bridge, you are in a what we call second inversion voicing. If what you're playing on the bass string is the lowest of the 3 notes, or the highest if you want to go that way, the closest to the nut, then you've got a first inversion voicing. And this will make all the difference between having notes that are closer together or further apart to give you a really nice sound for your chord. Notice that nothing changes when you move this chord back and forth and flip it. The root remains on the middle string. However, on the L-shaped chord, if you flip that from a 3, 3, 5 to a 5, 3, 3, same notes, different voicing. This is a second inversion, but the root is no longer on the bass string. The root is now on the melody string because you flipped it around. So make sure you remember, if you're ever playing a chord in the second inversion voicing, that your root is going to flip to the other side of the instrument. Let's now go to an extended slant chord, 2, 3, 5. Extended slant always goes tic-tac-toe, and then you skip 1 fret and you stretch. This is sometimes called a stretch chord, and the note you are stretching towards is the root. In this case, for a 2, 3, 5 chord, what we're playing there on the melody string where the root is a B. That sounds pretty somber. That's a B minor chord. Now if you flip this 2, 3, 5 over to 5, 3, 2, not only will the B minor sound more rich and more textured and easier to figure out that it's a B minor, but once again we have flipped the chord from a first inversion to a second inversion, and that means that the root is no longer on the melody string, it is on the opposite side of the fretboard, which is now the bass string. So there you have the L-shaped chord, root is on the bass, slant chord, root is on the middle, extended slant or stretch slant, root is on the melody. Remember, when you flip those chords around, the rules for L and extended switch to the other side of the fretboard. I hope this has been helpful, and there's a lot more stuff coming along this year. Make sure you check my website, bingfutch.com, for places where I will be, festivals I will play, and workshops I shall give. Until next time, thanks for watching. This is Bing Futch.